powered by FUZION.
Welcome to DPMF Live. Now meet our hosts.
It's 8 o'clock. It's DPMF Live, back with another fat one just for you. As ever, the crew, Dan the man to my right. I've got Live Free, Wicked Wes and Mike. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FUZION XRUO, the baddest place to sell, mint and do your NFTs. Go check it out. This is episode 77 and we have Chris Kitto from OpenX, one of the OGs of the space. It's a pleasure to have him on board. Dan, do you want to fill us in with the markets?
I don't know if any of you are looking at the price of Bitcoin currently, but it's just come. There's some news articles just coming out now with BTC hitting $119,300, setting an all-time new high as of right now. So yeah, it's dropped about $300, $119,000 for one Bitcoin. Currently in the lead of the ranking. Ethereum is sitting at $2,994. It's up 18% on the 7-day. And XRP has made it into the top 3 again. Currently sitting at $2.85, up 26% on the 7-day. Ranked at number 4 is Tether. BNB is number 5, sitting at $691. Ranked at number 6 is Solana at $162. Ranked at number 7, USDC. Ranked at number 8, Dogecoin at 20 cents. Ranked at number 9 is Tron at 30 cents. And then ranked at number 10 is Cardano, which has come back. That dropped for a bit. It was out of the top 10 for a while. But they're back up. That's on a 28% increase on the 7-day, sitting at 74 cents. So yeah, while we're on the call, it looks like Bitcoin's hitting an all-time high.
Absolutely.
So, Bitcoin.
Everything's quite nice at the minute, isn't it? It's quite interesting space at the minute.
Just waiting for it to melt down into. Am I right in thinking that Ethereum loses the charge for the altcoins?
You would remember from years ago, you was on my trade group on WhatsApp, and I was pointing out that where most people follow Bitcoin, Bitcoin moves and the rest of the market moves. Well, actually, if you look at it on the small scale, it was, I don't think it is anymore, but about 4 or 5 years ago, Ethereum was actually leading. So when Ethereum moved, Bitcoin followed. And that happened for about 18 months. But I don't think it's the same now. But I haven't checked, I might be wrong.
Yeah. If you like what you hear, please write in the comments box. Please like, subscribe. All of our podcasts are going on the YouTube channel. So head over there, have a listen. And this space is recorded. So Chris, open up your mic, my friend. Welcome to the space.
Hello, mate. Thanks for the introduction.
When's the last time we spoke? Because that was probably about a year and a half ago, wasn't it? About a year and a half ago you came
Probably
on?
episode 1, probably, I think, or close to it, I think.
Yeah,
Yes, I think it was, yeah.
you were the very first fresh that we grilled. How did you find that experience coming on the show and stuff? Was it a bit daunting?
Oh, yeah, it was daunting. I mean, I think you only took one time. You only had one go at the intro then, so I think your intro got a little bit worse after 77 times, but, you know.
Yeah, okay, rub it in, Chris, rub it in. Yeah, thanks, mate.
It took him a year and a half to come back, so let's say no more, do you know what I mean?
It hasn't got any better, Chris, trust me.
No, that's fine, mate. It's, I enjoy listening to them. I pick them up on the sort of Monday on the drive to work, most of them. Sunday's always a tough time for me, like personally, with little ones at home and stuff, so I normally listen to it on the commute to work. I pick up a few videos and stuff like that on the way there. So yeah, make sure it's always saved and shared about, because I'm sure other people do the same as well.
Absolutely. So since we last spoke then, just explain what's happened in OpenEgg, what's developed, what's been going on.
I think the key one really, amongst probably myself and other XRPL projects, that we're just about surviving, keeping your head above water. You know, I think we've seen many big projects sort of fall by the wayside over the sort of past year, 18 months. You know, I've been involved in like community, like investor side, and a few that have took off and then sort of come crashing back down, and you know, they're sort of floundering now and pretty much giving up the ghost. And that's sort of the main sort of thing you do, is make sure you can survive during those quiet times. You know, you keep talking to people in DMs, you keep showing up, and keep that money in, money out. I know a few people have moaned that we haven't put this in there or gone on the exchange, like I said, but you know, in those quiet times, you know, a dollar's still a dollar, but you're getting a lot of bigger bang for your buck in sort of more, how do I say it, more sort of, not so much FOMO market, but sort of more awareness or less fear. So that time's soon coming round, you know, and I know many projects probably say they don't try to aim for those sort of increased awareness periods, but, you know, it's always going to be in the back of your mind. So we've got a few things lined up, you know, got money in our pocket that I've been very frugal with, and I think I'm probably going to have to get my hand in my pocket into the OpenEgg coffers very soon. I think that time's coming.
Awesome. And is your community growing, or have you got any sort of growth in numbers at all of holders, or is it quite you know, stale sort of?
I would say it's reasonably pretty much plateaued. I mean, the DMs are more than ever, I'd say. The holders, I see a lot of people like they used to more condensing their tokens, so wallets. In most projects, or not most, but quite a few projects, you see them condensing down. You know, obviously they're investing more in other areas and stuff. They don't need to have, you know, 1, 2, 3 Xamen wallets, and also with the amount of other wallets going around on a Ledger, you know, those tokens are quite hard to keep track of sometimes. So I think a lot of people are sort of moving their holdings into sort of their sort of favorite wallet. So holders may appear to go down in some projects, but if you check the sort of the buys and the sells and the overall sort of volume market caps, you know, it isn't too bad, to be fair. You know, I think Dan mentions it a few times, like when people sort of come up to you as a sort of a project lead to go, it was worth X XRP, now it's only worth X or less XRP, but the USD value is still the same. You know, that's quite a big thing to highlight to people.
Yeah, do you know, that's actually true.
Know.
So I get many DMs. Not actually, I say I haven't had them for months, but I did used to get many DMs of people saying, what's happening with price, sir? I say, well, it does what it bloody wants to. Then I'd send them the chart. So whatever the token is, I'd send them against XRP, and then I would send them the USD chart, which has been easier to pull up since the AMM came online, because you can, pull up more markets, if you like, with with the different trading charts. And generally, I think it's across the board. I think most of the XRPL assets have sat at the same USD kind of value without going too far up or down. I think that, it's pretty gradual. I think it's across the board. So when you show someone that, you say actually that, the value of what you have is probably about the same as it was 3 months ago, but you're looking at the whatever token it is against XRP. And, if XRP is going to go up, then naturally, the other asset would go down, and it works vice versa. It's just how markets work. And we've had a bit of we had the run in 2021, I think it was, with assets, XRPL assets. That will come back, and it will probably, because of the percent gains and the market caps for the XRPL network are very small compared to other chains. Like, the XRPL network's really good to invest in for percent gains. Like, it's the best one of them all. If you look at other chains and their market caps and what they're doing, honestly, the XRPL is the best just because it has the best percent gains. And I reckon some will just start flying. I've said that for probably about 2 years now, because we're the turnaround point. If you look at some of the XRPL assets, actually, there's some bottoms structures been made, and that would tell you, well, is XRP coming to a top? Some would argue, no, it's going to $1 million, and some would say, well, realistically, it might not have too much more to go. And when that XRP currency runs out of fuel, that's got a 4-year bear market coming at some point. And most people won't realise it's there until about halfway. But when that happens, when there'll be traders there who will play the metrics, and they'll just buy up XRPL assets, probably loads of them, and we'll see a big market turn.
Yeah, same wavelength completely, to be fair. If you look at like all-time high market caps on some of the Ledger tokens, some of them even peaked. Everyone's crying, not crying, but sort of like shouting out prices collapsing. You've literally your market cap's peaked. We had that the other day. We had one holder that unfortunately went off chasing green, and quite sharp wicks. And then a couple of days later, you nearly hit all-time high market cap, or something like 130, 140, 160, something like that. And that just goes to show that it's not as bad as sort of people think on the ledger, on the XRPL. If you are simply here to sort of double your XRP bag, then you can, with XRP going up, what is it now? 286 now. So sort of 50 cents is trading for quite a long time. So nearly 6 times up in value. You are probably going to expect your ledger token not to be worth as many XRPs, but the USD value is actually probably increased in some of them. So yeah, it's not as bad as everyone thinks. I'm quite happy, to be fair. And I think the exciting period is literally just around the corner. And if you're not following the old DPMF trade group on X, the community there, make sure you do. And 3 to 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah, throw that one in, Chris. Nice. I like it. Bonus.
Talk to us, Chris.
The last post was 6 weeks ago, I think. We said getting a little bit excited, so I'm just going to highlight that. That was looking good so far, anyway.
So, Chris, talk to us about the trade group. What's going on with that?
So yeah, we at the moment it seems my good friend Brightness, who is quite a funny anonymous character that I've been friends with. Actually, we started as enemies to begin with in a token called Velo. We actually both got banned from the group because we ended up arguing with each other, and that's not really stopped. But one of the things I always say to people is you learn more from someone you disagree with. And that's probably why we've become quite close friends. He wants to short the market all the time, and I'm pretty easygoing, but I am more of a long-term dollar cost average holder. So we have conflicts of interest there. So he's posting a lot. He does look only on Ethereum at the moment. He's got some really good charts out there, accompanied by Dan as well. So I will get some of them posted up on that group. And we've had a couple. Literally, I ran that BuildX was one that we went into. We went into sort of 2.5 times up. And
did you see the recent? BuildX went down about 4 days ago. One of their big holders just completely sold out their position and brought BuildX down quite a bit, man. That was a buying frenzy right after that. I definitely took advantage of that one.
Yeah, great shout, really, because they are a really good project. It seems some of the things they've brought out. All credit to people developing on the ledger. It's not the easiest thing to do, and seeing what they have put out so far, I'm pretty happy to be in there with a few bucks, and yeah, it's moderately quiet on the ledger. We've had a few that we were umming and ahhing about going into that swung quite well. Missed a buy as well, but sometimes on some of those first ledger tokens, I think setting limits on the actual DEX itself maybe not the quickest way or the most sure way of getting in and out of a project. So that's just something we're looking into at the moment on that.
Interesting. You said you and your friend was having arguments about shorting and holding. I mean, I sit in the camp of kind of buying, holding, and seeing where it goes, and don't sell until I need to or want to. So, who was winning the argument out of you and your friend then?
I think I've had more success on a whole. He's had ebbs and flows as you do with a trader. He likes ranges, like when a token or the market cap's come sort of range bound. He's very good at picking those ranges. And he does really sort of mop up on those, has some really, really big wins. It's just when they get to those areas of support and resistance, those are the times that emotionally you're going to get like bombarded by the media, people, all these paid shills, and it will be the complete opposite of probably what's going to happen. So taking that on board, is very hard for people to see, because you should be shorting something somewhere, or the other way around, but because of all the narratives are pushing you to think the other way, it's quite easy to get led astray. And those one or two wicks that caught him off guard brought him back down. Macro trend, he's mopping up. He's managed to pay off what he lost when he was holding, so that's great. And he has done quite well on that. I would probably say percentage wise, USD wise, he's probably a smidgy up, I would probably say, over the past sort of 12 months, because the alts have really taken a battering, as we all know. Like, some of the big legit tokens just crumbled. But give me a month, I would say they are all going to fly. So in a month's time, he's going to be 5-10x behind.
I certainly think something is coming. It does seem to be bubbling quite nicely, doesn't it? You were hinting that there are some developments for OpenEgg in the horizon. What can you elaborate on them at all?
Yeah, so really, we've got a couple of I think Vertex are literally putting out a link. I think they put out a link today for people holding over 100k tokens or one of the NFTs to get have a little play in their metaverse that they launched. So we've got an actual store in there that will be obviously opening once coincide with their launch. There'll be a few little things in there, some little Easter egg hunts that we've got set up with themselves. We've got a few other items that I am trying to get QR coded on our website for people to be able to come in to pick up items that they want for their own projects in real life. We've got these friends that have created a few items of merch and things like that in the real world for a few other people and projects registered with us. So that could be our little gateway in there to make some friends with people on the ledger, and then profits obviously recycled back in. I know a lot of people want you to, any sort of profits you do make, to buy and burn, all that sort of stuff. I like burning if it's through a utility, but rewards wise, I probably would look to do something else, because at the moment, every sort of buck helps with your project. So that's something that's coming quite shortly. It probably coincide with your good sales with some 3D NFT minting. So I have got the folder of those OVO characters.
I've seen it. I've seen that 3D character. Yeah, what was the file type? Was it FBX or?
It was an FBX. Yes, I'm actually on my laptop now, which I got sent over from a mate who did most of the work there. Yeah, it's on a robo animation one. Yeah, FBXs. Yeah.
Chris, are they on Fusion? They're on sale on Fusion, aren't they?
No, they would be, yeah, but obviously I'm going to speak to Dan now. He's back, send this across just to see if his developers can shed light on what was created for me by my friends. So hopefully it's there or thereabouts.
You won't confirm the skeleton and the rig to make sure it moves, if I remember. Is that right?
That's it, mate. Yeah, because they sent me lots and lots of folders across here, and obviously it's slightly beyond me, but I've seen it on a few worlds that they've demoed and come round, and they're friends of mine anyway. So we're probably about 90% of the way there, I'd say. So that's one of the things I'm going to get out of my pocket to make sure we get over the line. It gets minted, and then probably put them into an egg or something like that in Verse X world and dot them about there, which gives a couple people a few little fun things to find on there. And that would obviously be through just the token itself. So if you want them, you buy them at very obviously low cost, but using our token, which we probably will send to the incinerator, I'd say. And that's pretty similar with those egg NFTs as well. And again, we still got our OVOcrush tournament where people spend a few of the OVO tokens that just get burnt, and that sort of, I think the prize concludes on the 16th there. So there's a couple of little bits like that are sort of more sort of fun, interactive-y sort of stuff. The big money will come through the my little trading thing that I'm doing. It's more manual at the moment now. What we call it, the sovereign egg fund. You know, I think don't know if I'm doing good or bad at the moment. I think it's actually still just above. It's above break even at the moment, even with XRP pumping like mad, because
this is a difficult time for any project on the XRPL because of it doing so well. So you've always got that battle, haven't you? It's a tough one.
So yeah, OpenEgg sort of started in the probably the pits of the bear markets. It wasn't the most easiest of starts, and I felt I was always comfortable sort of getting people into crypto in a sort of a sensible way. So that's sort of where this sort of OpenEgg come from. Obviously, I say it's OpenEgg powered by OVO, which stands for Opening Virtual Ownership. So I really wanted to get in people onto the ledger, being an XRPL and XRP fan, and in a way that it was reasonably low cost to own a digital asset, and then a reasonably low cost to sort of understand, trade, and invest in not just OVO, but other tokens as well. And I really wanted to sort of bring a balance of style trading platform to the ledger. That was the real money ticket item. But obviously that's quite a hard thing to do without heavy funding. So then I ended up going through the more of a reward one where NFTs were sold, portions went to as rewards. I went back to buy back the token, went into investment. So I was going to sort of, if I couldn't get investment in or liquidity in, then I was basically just going to do it myself and bring some people along for the show as well. So the whole vision of the incubator, which is basically a balance of pool between tokens, doing manually between tokens on different chains, and those rewards then will in fact be able to be distributed to the holders as a reward, be able to have the app built so it's fully on the XRPL, and use the remaining portion for marketing. So it does really all hinge on basically me not fucking really, and because I'm pretty level-headed and chilled with crypto investing, that shouldn't be a worry. And also having a project, running a project does actually give you a tiny footstep into the world of other projects and discussions and circles. So I do benefit from that slightly on a personal level, as well as the egg fund itself. So that is, so yeah, it's going well. But yeah, basically opening virtual ownership, own low cost NFTs and tokens, and then be able to invest into a basket of other tokens that sort of trade and manually trade against each other, for you to increase your money without doing too much. So that's where I would like to get to, but obviously that's not the easiest thing to get to. But yeah, we are working towards that.
What sort of things have you got in store for the future, in the sense of, have you got other things you're working on at the minute?
Well, it's really that big ticket one, which would be the incubators. That is where the money's to be fair. And with that sovereign or the egg fund, when that gets to a large number, that will obviously be distributed, which is about $700 for everyone in the top 100 holders, which is quite, you can pretty much, that alone would be distributed through the incubators. So say, for example, you're number 74th top holder and it's only worth $200. Obviously, there's going to be an inflow of people buying very small amounts to try and get into the top 100. But then that wallet there'd be a snapshot that those wallets would then be given that $700, for example, on a vested schedule. So there'd be quite a high fee if it's sold within the first month and then proportionally knocked down over the next sort of 6 months. So that would just stop people rushing in, rushing out, because
what payment is it going to be? Have you finalized what payment is it going to be in? Is it going to be in XRP? Is it going to be in USDC? Is it going to be in RLUSD? How is that payment done?
Well, I think, to be honest, now it would be RLUSD because what the markets are like. If you then click the button that your manual incubator nails, say for example gets to say 180 or 200k, you take that out and you're giving that 100k away. You know what it's like. All of a sudden, someone could come out and what the world's like, drop a bomb, or someone could get shot, or and then the market collapses 20%, and everyone's like, hang on a minute, we just lost 20-30 grand of our pot. So the second it hits the exit target, that would go straight into it would go into USDC because some of the tokens we've invested on are on Ethereum, but then it'd be distributed on the ledger, so it's fully transparent, so everyone can see it there. And it's just then with that extra money, you can work out how that is actually distributed in a vested way, so the fees come down proportionally. And it will be put over everywhere that if someone does go, I've got $700 in now, I'm taking it, and then they get hit with, say, for example, like an 80% fee in the first month, it will be all over the place that is the fee. That money would then come back through in not sure the exact way yet, whether or not it would just go straight into the liquidity pool, because the liquidity pool is quite low on most XRPL projects. So that's probably the best way of doing it, just to bolster that ratio up. So that's something that's probably where it would go.
So when would the payment be, or the reward be completely free of any kind of fee?
I would probably say a fair one. Originally, it was we white papered out of like 6 months, but that does seem a little bit too far. To be fair, it would probably go down to say 3 months, and that if you could tie the tokens that would included in your snapshots. So say, for example, you end up selling 20-30% of your holdings, for example, and you only spent, you held it for 1 month. That there would be a sort of a calculation that would be made on your percentage. So that stops people then selling the whole lot and waiting. It stops people selling out early. You're doing a lot of work for this pool of liquidity that will stabilize your project. We don't really want it going, being drained out of the project so quick. So the ones that have been the longest, been around the longest, have helped the most, are sort of ways and would probably benefit those the most, which is how it should be.
I just looked into the OVO rich list, and to be a top 100 wallet holder, all it takes is 15 XRP. Obviously, that's probably going to go up a little more as the word starts getting out. Hey, man, you're going to get a lot of money over here if you're a top 100 holder. But right now, it'll cost you 15 XRP to roughly get a dividend of about $700 if everything goes as planned. I mean, that's a very good return on investment right there. If nothing changes with the wallet holders.
Exactly, mate. And the tokens we've got, to be honest, is actually only just one at the moment, and that's because friends of friends have invited us in there. We know what's coming. All the things have been signed, NDAs, all that sort of stuff. So we know what's coming. It's just a case of waiting now. And that's the hardest thing for anybody to do in the markets. And it's the easiest thing to do, but it's also the hardest. And that's probably why most chase green and fade away into the background, unfortunately. So yeah, patience is something that we all need, and it will pay dividends.
So if I was Chris, if I was a new guy in the audience wanting to invest in your project, I could buy one of the OVO NFTs and gain a reward. I could play OVOcrush, get a reward of sorts, and I could also get a reward on the actual investment as well. Is that right? Have I sort of
That's pretty much correct. Yeah. There are OVO cards which tied up to a few bootlegs or some of our NFTs that you get. You get a proportion of OVO token, and I think it's about 20-3% that we hold in the project wallet. It's not locked, but that is designated for each OVOcard NFT. So as they get sold, obviously then a few tokens come onto the market to that NFT holder. If they don't get a hold on a monthly basis, we do burn one NFT from each tier, which just takes away from our little pot that we've got. So there's no more tokens to come out. We didn't sell any. It's not going to get a saturated market when the price goes up. So it's quite it's a low cost way to hopefully see a moderate return, not just on the or any price appreciation on the token itself, just by backing my good self on the manual incubator, and then seeing those rewards come back to you. Again, I'm a holder of my own project, and the funds are going to benefit me as well, because I should be one of the top holders, and I'll enjoy that $700. I'm going to go out and have a small holiday on it.
I mean, any project that's still around from the early days, you're clearly doing well. So, keep up the good work. If I was looking to invest in your project, you're always taught to do your own research and all that. So how do I know where you got your credentials as in finance? Where did you get your training expertise from? How did you develop that?
I think one of the best places that helped me in my crypto style now is by being a naughty child. So if you were doing the opposite of what you're told, obviously you're deemed a naughty child. But if you do the opposite of what you're told now as an adult, you're probably doing moderately successful. And that's obviously goes with what the media tells you, what these big players tell you, what the news tells you. So yeah, that is a good thing to bear in mind with everyone telling you. I mean, I bought XRP maybe a week after my son was born. I was looking for like get rich quick schemes, all that sort of nonsense as you do, when you first get a child. And I saw XRP had the lawsuit done, and it obviously collapsed massively. So I was like, well, everyone's telling you not to do something, I'm going to do it. I went 50-50 into that and XLM, and then XLM come out with a Ukraine stablecoin partnership they had that pumped massively. And that was pretty much all she wrote. And then I started listening to people on YouTube, only a few key ones, and I've listened to them every day for the past nearly 5 years now, 4.5 years. So I'm pretty well versed on those sorts of things. I run construction projects myself, so I do deal with a lot of grown kids on a daily basis there as well, and they are pretty similar to crypto investors. So I'm pretty level-headed there as well. And then results sort of speak for themselves on a personal level. The holdings have gone quite well. And yeah, everything's reasonably okay, set up, ready.
So you draw on your management experience from your construction world, and you also draw on your experience from crypto in general for many, many years. Is that correct?
Pretty much, mate. Yeah. And again, they got loads of little catchphrases. They say you're like some of the 5-6 people you spend most of your time with. And because I spend no time with anybody in the real world except a few crypto people, that's my sole focus. So yeah, no, you mix into the right circles. Obviously, you guys here, obviously Dan, and a few other people that I know from the UK and in other big groups. It's always lots of DMs and calls just catching up. So you're in the right circles to sort of help you paint the bigger picture of the overall sort of crypto world. And it's a very hard thing to do, I'll be honest. A lot of people get swallowed up by it. So if you can just manage your emotions, you'll do okay.
And last time on the show, I think you brought David up. Is it your uncle? Is that right?
Yeah, he's down there. Yeah,
Supporting you still, helping you through all the hurdles.
yeah. We talk on WhatsApp a lot, like, keeping each other grounded and somewhat motivated during these quiet times. And you always need that person to fall back on. Like, it's very hard doing things on your own, or even just trying to maintain, your bag sizes, really, like with all the sort of macro events that are happening and all the cost of living and all this sort of nonsense going on. You really do have to sort of nail down everything, and having that support around you is quite crucial. He's down there now at the moment. It's actually nicknamed Slap.
Slap.
I don't know if I told you. Yeah, it's because I think he used to. He's got a giant forehead.
I thought you were going to say something else there about a Friday night in certain town.
No, he's down there. So he's a strong old boy. Like, he's knocking on a bit now, but he's still in great shape. Hits the gym in the mornings, and he's on his steak breakfast and things like that. So yeah, he's in good nick.
So Chris, let's put you to the test then. I want some. Obviously, anything we say is not financial advice, but Chris, I would like to know what your predictions are for Bitcoin in the next 4 weeks and XRP in the next 4 weeks. What do you think?
Just in case people didn't know, Chris Quito is part of the DPMF research group, and he's the lead of the team of that research.
Not sure. Did you hear the question? I
didn't know. No.
I would like you, and obviously anything we say is not financial advice, but I would like you to give me a prediction for Bitcoin in the next 4 weeks and XRP in the next 4 weeks.
For my whole sort of mindset for a while, I was umming and ahhing. I was looking for sort of higher 170s, but because the market's dragged on so long now, I can't see that getting to that. I can't see it being a long market now, because it's just dragged on so much. I did say in most of the groups now, 124 grand is probably, like, if it gets there, I'll be happy. And then when it gets there, all I'll be focused on is looking at the Bitcoin dominance, because if that starts dropping close to that sort of price point, I'll probably be looking as that's the top for me. So I'm going to say 124 grand, probably within 2 weeks' time. Either it's going to back test back to like that previous all-time high, like at 112, and then go up to 124-ish or something. If it goes straight up there now, I don't know, then it probably tell me it's going a bit higher. So I do think 124 grand, a week's time, that will do me. And if that's the top for Bitcoin, then XRP, to be honest, it's all dependent on how high Bitcoin goes for me, really, because that is the liquidity driver. There's zero chance in my mind but zero chance of it getting up to those triple digits. It's just market cap. Market cap's really my biggest thing, especially with that much tokens sort of out there. I'd probably say 124 for Bitcoin. I would say XRP, I'm probably going to go with just under $5 to $7 if at the peak of the bull run. I'd probably say, I'll probably say that 124, and I'm going to go with 580 for XRP as my two tops.
Because I that's in line with what I was actually quite thinking, actually. Somewhere around that mark. Obviously, these 589 figures, they're just, that's just, just smoking pipe dreams, isn't it? But the $5 mark, $6 mark, $7 mark, something like that for XRP would be absolutely gorgeous, and I think that's a possibility.
Let me stop right there. When do you expect the peak? When do you see the peak happening, Chris?
Well, BCB and tech dev. I know tech dev is a little bit too bullish for most people. Blockchain backer does sort of think there's a peak, just a small peak coming, and the rollover sort of maybe September, October, November is usually traditionally sort of exciting time. They've got Pumptober, don't they, or something like that. So I'd probably say it's going to be around that September, October, November period that will be the peak. Like last time, there's a double top when it rolled over. Because it's dragged on so long, honestly, it's not like the other cycles. I think there might only just be one, and then it'll be a slow rollover. By March 26th, I think we're pretty much done and dusted, and we're heading down.
Now that's for the macros, but what about the micros then? Do you think some people are saying that there's going to be an extended bull run for the micro caps as opposed to for the macros? What do you think on that?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it will be to the back end of that ball. You will get some first movers, and if you manage to catch one of those first movers, you're having a serious dopamine hit. Then, if you catch the first one. I think probably say Bitcoin's going to top next maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then 3 to 6 weeks you start seeing the big ones sort of beginning to roll over. What's that take you to? Early September, maybe a little bit of fear in the market there, which is like your first major sell-off maybe in sort of September. Everyone's like, oh shit, we're over. And then it comes back up to this sort of price where we're to now, or back up to that 124, and you're like, oh, we're going again, it's 250, laser eyes. And then at that stage, you don't see the big ones move. That is the rollover into the sort of mid and low cap sort of around late September, early October. And by sort of November, we're pretty much rolled over. It'll be a long, drawn-out phase then for 3 or 4 months while everyone tells everybody their thing's got another 10x in it. And it's actually just a distribution phase on most tokens.
Now, have you kept a? Well, I know you have because you're into this. There's a lot of news now, or a lot of rumors coming up that they're going to start lowering the rates in the U.S. On this next meeting. Well, how do you think that's going to affect this? If they do lower the rates, maybe they were talking about 0.5 or 0.75, or if they just leave them alone again because the frickin' Powell was on batting for the other team. What are your thoughts?
There was news out today. I told people release some bits that if Trump wants to fire him, he can. I don't think he can, though, personally, but I haven't read too much into it. But there were a few bits of news that come out today. If he wants to be gone, he can get rid of him. That's probably why we're seeing a bit more green now. I do think they will end up cutting the rates. I do like Trump. I do like a lot of the things he says and does. I will voice that, no problem. So I do think he's going to do well. I do think they're going to cut the rates, but I do think the opposite for a short time will happen. Just like when he come in, just for that small time, this other side, it's all about market makers. They could easily pull the market in the opposite way just to add pressure to everything. And whether or not, just thinking outside the box, devil's advocate, they cut the rates, things start crashing, everyone's like, see, it wasn't right, the dollar is actually dead, we're screwed, and then they use that narrative to fire at the money printers, and that's what sends it again, and that might give you that up, down, up, that basically kills off leverage traders, weak hands, and they can make money on the side. So maybe there might be a double narrative there of rate cutting, collapse the dollar, and then, it's going to be a fucking volatile couple of months, that's for sure. But yeah, they will cut. I do think they'll print, and I do think we're going to have a full-on send, but for a very short period, a lot shorter than we all think.
So with OpenEgg then, is that something you could see yourselves doing, is setting up a loaning scheme with OpenEgg itself, or is that a bit above your sort of station at the moment?
Yeah, I think that's quite a big thing, really, because I said most of the, like a lot of things, like you could set up all sorts, like you could say, like, I'm going to sell my house today and I'm going to sell it for OVO tokens. And then, like anyone could pretty much set things like that up. It's just how the latent sort of regulated financial institutions all agree, yeah, you know what, actually we'll allow you to do that. I think that's the biggest thing, and with a lot of those loans that you need, obviously you have to be, I'm assuming you do need to be partnered with a bank, so that you have the best of both worlds. You have a little bit of regulated security with the fiat part, and then you have the blockchain side.
There's borrowing and lending as an XLS protocol coming. if it's not on, if I've missed it over the past few months. I'm sure there is.
I'm not sure. I'll have a look.
What is it?
Yeah,
It's XLS 80 or something like that, isn't it? Something
there you
like
go. That rings a bell, actually. Yeah, I remember reading about it a few months ago. So there is a borrowing and lending protocol on the XRPL where people will be able to borrow and lend out on a peer-to-peer basis.
Awesome.
Without a bank.
Excellent.
There you go. So that's what I was going to say. I was going to cut in and say Chris is definitely going to do it because of this, and this. But
Is that the stuff that includes oracles? You have to have oracles and things like that.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look at it again. I briefly skimmed over it months ago. And I knew the XRP Ledger was going in that direction. That was always going to come. But then when it come up, I was like, yeah, it might be XLS 60.
So,
Is it XLS 60?
So how would that work then? You would put you put your XRP in the escrow or something, and then someone else.
So I don't want to say pretend like I know what I'm talking about because I haven't looked at it in detail. But somewhere, so you would need collateral, a form of collateral for lending. So if you don't make payments, the collateral would be sent. So it's like a layer of a smart contract, if you like. I believe. I might be massively wrong here, so if someone knows,
I think
feel free to jump in.
the crypto is the collateral, isn't it? Because you can do collateralized loans based on your crypto.
And then it should lend in later where you could use an NFT for collateral as well.
Oh wow!
Borrow and lending. So your NFT, if you like, would be up for collateral borrowing and lending. If you don't make the payments, you lose your NFT and it will go to the person you borrowed off. But how exactly it works, I'm not sure. But I remember reading, skimming through it and seeing it. Yeah.
You know, we have Versex as a listener right now, and that kind of made me think about creating this metaverse world like Versex is doing and like Expector are doing, to where all it is just pure crypto transactions, and there's never any on-off ramping needed. So let's say you go to Versex, you go to a store there at the shoe store, and you buy some shoes from a company that sells them for, let's say, 50 XRP or whatever. And that company itself accepts that 50 XRP, but never changes it out to fiat. And then that shoe company obviously has to replace the shoes that it sold. So it gets a manufacturer that then accepts crypto as payment, and then also for the same reason does not change it out or off ramps it, and gets their supplies from companies that also agree to the same thing. You know, I'm wondering if we can somehow be able to create some sort of metaverse to where everything is just crypto. Fiat just completely disappears in everybody's eyes and thoughts.
I think you scared Metaverse off.
What's that?
You just scared him off. He's gone.
He went, this conversation is way too complex. I'm going to walk out the room before I'm invited up. So the problem is, and it's been a big problem in crypto. The problem is cash and fiat currency has a massive utility in the world. It's the only thing we use to buy food, energy, fuel. So however much you make, and generally when you buy something, especially when you're in the crypto world, you have an investment mindset. So when you buy something, usually it's to sell it for more than you paid for it. But so eventually it comes to a point where people are buying stuff because they want to make money. And it goes back to, cash unfortunately is still the lucrative way. It's the highest utility of all currencies. It's just because all businesses run on it. So really what you want is like a flurry of businesses, like energy companies, stores that sell groceries and fruit and veg and food and that would take crypto payments. And then, like a big cycle, then it would, well,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's.
I thought you were talking about just the metaverse.
No, I mean, let's say we create this metaverse version of another life, shall we say, to where we do everything crypto, to where it's all crypto and no fiat at all whatsoever. Like you said, obviously we need to eat, and we buy the fruits and the meats and the whatever with crypto, and then but that company that sells you the produce then has to replace their supplies, but they use that same crypto that you spent without having to off ramp it into fiat to pay the farmers or whatever.
So the point where
I bet I can predict which big company will take crypto payments first, where it starts turning.
Monsanto?
No,
property,
I don't. It won't be a bank. It won't be a bank. I can tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be automated cars, because an automated car, doesn't need a driver. It only has to, pay for its energy, its electricity. I'm not about Tesla. I'm talking about Tesla specifically, actually. I think they will be the first. And there's already been a clue on it before, where they accepted Bitcoin in 2021, and they sold like 24 Tesla, I think, for Bitcoin being exchanged, and then Elon stopped it. But I bet you, when it comes down to automated driving, that when people get in someone else's car, when it acts as a taxi, I bet they take payments in multiple currencies.
That's the idea, because he's open, he's making available. If you've got an idle Tesla, it can use the automated software that drives itself to ferry people around and make money off it.
Basically,
and like you said, Dan, he's already capable of accepting Bitcoin. But what you're requiring there to do this is I think they call it either tier 2 or tier 3 AI, where it can think for itself and make decisions. So we've got I'm sure it's 3 tiers of AI. So one is analytic. It just looks at raw data, and then it can give you an interrogation of that. You can interrogate it. Then you've got the tier 2. It comes with a bit of knowledge. It can make almost predictions upon it. And it can make it can give opinions what it would make, but only based on the raw data that it's ever been given. This is a keynote to maintain. And the third is where it thinks for itself and makes opinions based upon this faulty data and faulty information. So you've got to be careful with AI.
I think this might be a good time to conclude tonight's podcast. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. I'm ready to go, I think.
Chris, thank you very much for coming and sharing the evening with us. It's always a pleasure to get you on. One of the OGs of the XRPL space. Thank you, and we will definitely hope to get you back at some point. Is that all right?
Much appreciated. Glad to be here, and I'll be in one of the groups. Final say off. Manage your emotions. Dollar cost average. Hold on for dear life, and surround yourself with good people like those here. That's my final sign off.
Wise words, my friend. Wise words. And anything we've said tonight is definitely not financial advice.
Let me close off the show there, Palace. This show is sponsored by FUZIONXIO.com, a premier permissionless NFT platform where you can mint and sell NFTs in any of the over 50,000 coins on the XRPL. And soon to be where you need to go get the future Yem Part 1 and 2 rewards. The current Yem Infinity has not gone out yet, but it will be coming out soon, or later on today. Remember, to be able to unlock the yield earning mechanism, you will need to own at least one XIO, and the amount of Yem Infinity reward depends on the amount of XDX you own. Thank you for joining us today and learning about OpenEgg and Keto in his market research. Please reach out to him and learn more about his project, and please follow all the speakers here. Please don't take anything we say as financial advice. Do your own research, okay? With that said, we bid you farewell and hope you join us again next week for another deep dive into the blockchain world. The show is recorded, so if you missed a part, you can go back and listen to the show. Please share and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye,
All
people.
right, because I am going to bed soon. And live free, that was beautifully delivered. And God bless you all. It's been a pleasure.